Thanks for coming again. So my name is Xiaoshu Kang, and my company is called Rehabtics. Rehabtics is developing a low-cost and effective system for long-term stroke rehabilitation. And the system will reduce the hospital care cost for healthcare providers, and also will improve the clinical outcomes for patients. So question, do you guys have you guys heard of anyone who had a stroke, either family, friends? So as you may know, stroke is the #1 leading cause of long-term disability in industrialized nations. Stroke can and do occur in any ages, from several months baby to elder patients. In the world, every year, there are 15 million people suffering from stroke. And in the United States alone, more than 7 million people survived a stroke. And every 40 seconds, there is a person suffering from stroke. The healthcare cost for stroke was over $65 billion in 2008. And the number is supposed to increase at $50 billion more per year. There are many factors contributing to this. The demographics is aging rapidly, and also there's a greater prevalence of diabetes and cardiovascular disease. All of these are contributing to the growth of stroke patients. Now imagine for a moment you are a stroke patient. As soon as you are resuscitated, you will go through intensive care unit, inpatient, outpatient. At the end of 90 days hospital stay, you will be released back to home doing years of self-directed home rehabilitation. There are several problems with this approach. When you do home rehabilitation, there's no feedback and no guidance, and the process is composed of hours repetitive motions every day, so it's very mind-numbing. And as a result, less than 33% patients do follow home rehabilitation instructions. And it costs the United States over $1 billion per year because of the low compliance rate, which leads to high readmission rates. So that's where Rehabtics come in. Rehabtics is developing a telemedicine system for physical rehabilitation using motion-controlled video games. So our solution has 3 parts. First part, we develop motion-controlled video games. So we use Microsoft Kinect sensor, which is a special camera, to track users' motions. And these motions are picked from the normal, commonly used physical rehabilitation movements. And as patients do it, the system gives automatic feedback to the patients in terms of whether they're doing the right or wrong, and give additional feedback to encourage them to do it more. And also, patients' data will be automatically uploaded online, so therapists can check patients' progress 24/7. And also, they can communicate with their patients using various ways, texting, emails, and video conferencing. When it's time to do physical rehab using Rehabtics, you just turn on the TV monitor, turn on the Kinect sensor, then you're ready to go. The value proposition of Rehabtics is multifold. For patients, we provide a low-cost yet effective solutions to improve their clinical outcomes and also improve their physical rehab experience. And for therapists, it's a system enable them to track patients' progress over the long term and give timely feedback. For healthcare providers, this is a way for them to reduce their current cost structure and also bring in new revenues. For example, this is a financial projection of for the following scenario, when Rehabtics is used in different units of rehabilitation, for example, intensive care unit, inpatient, outpatient. Annually, we will see a reduction of length of hospital stay and a reduction in the number of follow-up visits. And we see a total cost saving over $600 per patient per year. And now imagine a facility of medium size, which has 2,000 patients every year, then we're seeing $1.3 million per year cost savings for the single facility. Furthermore, our Rehabtics enables hospitals to conduct online group physical rehabilitation training. So from patient point of view, they only need to pay a little bit over $60 per month, and that translates to therapists almost $500 per month additional revenue streams. So in terms of product series, we have a version for patients to use at home, and also we have a version clinical portal to be used in the hospital providers' clinics. And also we have a telemedicine service that can be incorporated into the current structure of healthcare providers. In terms of business model, we're going to do B2B model. So we're going to sell to hospitals, healthcare providers, senior living centers, and athletic training centers. So in terms of the clinical model, they only need to pay a basic software licensing fee and a tiered pricing based on how many number of patients and user account they're hosting. And in terms of the telemedicine component, we plan to market it using a credit card model, meaning that we only charge a percentage of whatever revenue the healthcare provider receive. And also, we're going to push the sales for the patient portal through these healthcare providers, so they help us to sell to their patients, and so that patients can use this system at home for long-term rehabilitation. And these are the total number of healthcare providers and facilities we have identified so far in the United States. And what is worth to note is that Rehabtics is one of the patient monitor systems, which is an $8 billion market in 2012. And with the healthcare reform, the market is seeing over 10% annual growth. So it's growing very rapidly. So let's look at the competitive landscape. Our first competitor is robotic-assisted rehabilitation devices. The average price is about $200,000, and the patients couldn't afford them at home. The other two products on the market for home rehabilitation are CoreTX and HandTutor. CoreTX only have 1 degree freedom tracking using a accelerometer tracking your arm motions, versus Rehabtics using optical tracking, we can track multi-joints at the same time. And HandTutor, as the name suggests, is only for hand rehabilitation, which is now the focus of Rehabtics right now. And of course, there is activities in academic using Kinect sensor for healthcare applications, but not in direct competition. Our more direct competition is from Gentonics, Gage, and Westhouse. And Gentonics is a Canadian startup, and Westhouse is stealth mode health startup in US. They both received venture backup early this year. And you may ask why patients don't use the Kinect or Wii commercial solutions on the market, because these motions in these games are too complex for patients to use at home. They are designed for normal people to use. We have a very strong team, and besides me, all of our team members are from industry, gaming industry, and the total experience of the team is over 50 years old. And everyone carry 8 to 18 years industry experience, and many of them from Hunt Valley in Maryland. And we also have a strong advisory board. Our clinical board from Johns Hopkins University Hospital and University of Maryland School of Medicine. And our business advisors composed of entrepreneurs who did physical rehabilitation devices marketing to stroke patients, or IT, medical analytics, and IT software industry. So we have very experienced advisory board as well. So we started to work on this project in November 2011, and then our project was awarded Johns Hopkins Business Plan Competition, third prize, and awarded NCIA grant. And we founded the company in October 2012. And we were selected into the Accelerate Baltimore in February this year. And we're finishing the beta version towards the end of this month in May. And we have several pilot testing already lined up. And we have submitted Maryland Industry Partnership Grant application with University of Maryland. So we're going to do pilot studies and prototype iterations and clinical testing with them in the following year. Also in May, Rehabtics was selected as Maryland Incubator Company of the Award of the Year 2013 finalist. So right now we have several beta testing places already secured. For example, LEAK for people with disabilities, and University of Maryland and University of Southampton, which is in UK, and also Skill in Baltimore. These places have a lot of patients who need chronic rehabilitation. And we are discussing with Department of Veteran Affairs and Sunrise different senior living centers and personal home cares facilities for pilot testing. So Rehabtics is projected to reach positive cash flow next year. Right now, we are seeking funding from $600,000 to $800,000 for technical development for a full year. Specifically, we want to implement software interface to common social networks, because the social interaction to combat the depression and motivate each other is very important. And also, we want to enable hand and finger tracking and rehabilitation, and also enable multiplayer mode. And if the budget allows, we want to improve the patient data analytics and also improve the Kinect tracking algorithm further. Rehabtics is gamification of physical rehabilitation. Rehabtics will reduce the cost for stroke care and also improve patient clinical outcomes. Rehabtics aims to become the market leader in virtual care and telemedicine in physical rehabilitation field. So thanks for your time, and I welcome your feedback. Thank you. So that's all.
Just on attendance.
Okay.
Yeah, pitch on it.
Thanks.
Okay. Overall, very good.
Thank you.
One of the slides that I found a little perplexing was the cost savings slide.
Right.
Yeah, this one. I got the point, but I was lost on this. I mean, now, mind you, you really have probably a good 20-minute presentation that you're really trying to compact into 10, and I got it. But this I found confusing. All right, to me. Also, what's the next slide? The cost per patient or something? Yeah, I didn't. What I took away is the model is you go to these rehabilitation centers and you sell them on that's your main customer.
Right.
And you sell them on what you're doing, and then they in turn use it, and it's less expensive for the patient overall, and therefore it's helpful to your direct customer, the rehabilitation unit, which I thought was, it was a model that made sense to me. It was confusing. Do the patients pay you any money, or do you have any kind of inroad to get money from the patients directly?
Well, this one is additional revenue stream. We think patients, patients don't pay us directly, but they pay the healthcare therapist.
Right.
So this is group counseling, and this is if patients don't want to travel, and also they're homebound, they can use this model to do physical rehab.
So you don't do anything directly with the patient. You do only, okay,
Right.
that
so
was,
I
thought that was the case. I just wanted to clarify.
I should probably clarify further here.
Right. And then that might be helpful. Because then you're really a business to business model, not a business to customer model.
Yeah.
And also the beta testing. Now you indicated there's some various organizations you're now dealing with that are beta testing. University of Southampton and I guess University of Maryland. It would be interesting to hear some results of that beta testing more definitively, like, oh yes, it's being used at University of Maryland, and 3 therapists have started using it, and they like it, and they're working with the gaming programmers and I just didn't quite get if there was if it was rolling out as smoothly as you had hoped.
Yeah, or kind of what the status of kind of the current beta product was. Like, I had the same question.
Yeah.
Okay, so like in terms of prototype, I guess I should mention, I mentioned only one briefly, saying it's going to be finished by the end of this month.
Right.
So I guess I should emphasize that more.
Yeah, or just give more of a sense of kind of where that is on the spectrum, because I mean, finished is a relative term, and like, do you have it in an unfinished state with like current beta testers? If so, how many? What do they think about it? What are the current challenges you face? Are there licensing issues that you're going to face rolling out this at scale? Is Microsoft okay with everything you're doing? I mean, there's, and not that you need that for Kinect specifically, but you would need it if you're going to make it into like an Xbox game.
Right.
Anyway, there's a whole list of kind of things related to the deployment of the product and the current status of the beta that I think it would be good to include a sentence that just kind of says what the current status is, so people just know, because I was like, dang, as well.
Right.
One other comment. To me, the fact that you've got gaming programmers involved is great. That's a terrific. I'd move that more to the front. I think you didn't bring that up until toward the end of the presentation.
Okay. So you think I should mention team earlier?
Yeah. Dave, what do you? I mean, That's my feeling anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
whatever you think, is gonna play the best. I mean, I do think that the fact that you have like some real game people involved, that gives some confidence that, it's gonna work. I don't know, I mean, this is very personal and nice. I like the way it's kind of just first names. If I knew that like Jill was like, the former CFO of something, that might help me a little. But, you decide whether that makes sense. I happen to know Chris, so, but yeah, just, making that a little bit more clear, kind of what the horsepower of this team is, might be a little bit of, an improvement.
Okay, and explain more like their
well,
experiences.
I agree with Dave 100%. That's very personal, which is good, but it needs to be taken half a step further. Because not only are they personal, but these are people of substance. These are people who really bring something to the table.
Yeah, like even just like some little subtitles like overlaid on the bottom of their pictures. It's some like developer, artist, CFO, CMO, things like that, just to get a sense of the weight of these
Right.
people.
Okay, I see what you mean. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I've got. But, very good.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's great, and I think it's a really good idea and great timing in the market and all that. Something should happen. So.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I agree 100%. When you get to the longer presentation, I think you've got it all here. Just kind of slow down, and let give people a little bit more absorption time.
Yeah, I was
But-
sort of trying to
Yeah,
press
but,
things in.
but you're dealing with the cards you're dealt, so you're doing fine. You're good.
Okay.
I agree with him. Timing seems right. It seems like a very good concept. I just can't think of anything that's not positive. I mean, it's really good.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the
No
feedback.
uncertainty about the market, the opportunity. It's all crystal clear, you guys.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah,
I
it just
understand.
makes total sense to me.
Okay.
Yeah,
You two have
I thought so.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so
Okay,
much.
so